Hello, everyone. We exist.
Nuh-uh.
Somehow.
Oh, shit. No, I guess not. Never mind.
Close the stream.
But, no. Either way, welcome back to Swing Swordsman. We're a bunch of nerdy-ass people from across the states and one Australian play Dungeons and Dragons. Sadly, we do not have the Australian, but that's fine. That's fine.
False advertising.
It's not false advertising if he is still a part of the team. That being said, welcome back to Fury of the Outlands. I forgot what fucking episode we're on, but it honestly doesn't matter. Before we get into tonight's recap, a couple of shoutouts, as usual. If you want to know what our lives are like outside of the campaign, but not outside of D&D, head over to Spotify and listen to the podcast Guys. It is very nerdy. Adults be warned, children be terrified.
Children should not be watching our shows.
No, they really shouldn't.
Not even.
Oh, Myra is showing up.
Yes.
Oh, damn. Well, alright, well, she'll just pop in eventually. That being said, she's on a call with her niece. Okay. But yeah, no. Head over to Guys Podcast to know what our lives are like outside of the campaign, not necessarily outside of D&D, because, well, D&D. That being said, if you want to listen to some music, head over to Spotify on our buddy Wyra's thing there. She just released a new song. Well, new to everyone else, not necessarily new to the people who know her. It is available on Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music. Thank God it's on YouTube Music because Spotify hates me. I don't know why, but it just hates me.
I don't think it's anyone without premium.
Yeah, no, that's a. But it's fine with podcasts. Is the thing? It's fine with podcasts. Really? Yeah, like I can select a podcast, it'll play the podcast. But if I select music, it's gonna change to something else entirely.
Oh damn!
It is stupid as sin.
That's because they want you to spend your money on them.
Yeah, no, I spend my money on enough. If you want to see any art shit, Angel has various art stuff on social medias at Tenshi Art.
I got my setup back now, so now I can make videos again.
Yeah, no, we actually got Angel back for the foreseeable future. Thank God. That being said, has anyone here ever heard of the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV? No.
We're not doing this.
We're not sponsored. I just wanted to do that for shits and grins.
Just because you got me into it doesn't mean you need to get the whole 2 watchers onto it, or listeners.
Damn.
Yeah, that's fair. And honestly, the only person I'm trying to push into this is Carlo. I'm sorry, bud.
Critically acclaimed.
Well, no, you could play Franklin. You could play Franklin. Be a paladin right off the get go.
What have I created? What have I done?
You've created a monster.
Okay,
that's
to
what
be
you said.
Hey, it wouldn't be the first time. I just had a freaking lore battle with Angel about something else entirely, and I won.
Oh, okay. So what I'm hearing is you have an ego boost right now, and it's rubbing off.
Damn it. Yes, no, maybe so. I still blame Angel, though.
Hey, Ryan, bars.
Wow. That was rhyming on so many counts. Yeah. Yeah, no. Also, let us know if you want us to play Final Fantasy XIV all together in some sort of chaotic fuck-up.
I think that would be a lot of fun regardless.
That would be fun regardless. It's probably not going to be a thing, but because none of us can keep a tight schedule for that for multiple days at a time yet. I still have theater going on, so... But yeah, no, if that ends up being a thing, that's going to end up being a thing, and if that ends up being a thing, I dare all of us to do the Lalafell Squad.
Yes.
We are,
don't give him any spoilers.
Yeah, no. No, just for everyone here, because I know people have most likely been looking at the chats in our Discord, not online. Even Angel, I'm sorry. Even Angel, I'm pulling you into this. We are starting fresh again, and we are going Lalafell Squad.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with starting fresh. I do it all the time. It's I'm probably going through my 50th Skyrim playthrough. I've never even met Alduin.
People still play Skyrim?
Are you kidding me? It's amazing.
No, it's not.
You gotta. We're not getting into this.
Off topic for you guys.
Let's get back on track here.
Okay. Yeah. No. For those who are watching, you don't have to. But we're gonna force Carlo to. Eventually, on his own time.
On his own time, which is code for tie him up in front of a computer.
Yeah, like I said, Carlo, you can create Franklin. You can recreate Frank. I recreated Nyx.
Epic.
Sort of. There's some minor discrepancy because I'm not in Heaven's Ward. Okay. Let's get into the recap before we just end up turning this into a ramble stream. So, last we left off, Yuri Volkanov had just decided to embark on the Maze of Embers, a possible trial in search of answers involving his family curse in the idea of every member of the Volkanov patriarchy just vanishing. We'll just describe it as that. After gaining entrance to the Maze of Embers, the party did a little bit of walking around and realized that it's eventually kind of getting hot, as the maze itself is kind of in a overlap between the material plane and the elemental plane of fire. After some observations and investigations, it was discovered that not only is the maze partly in the plane of fire, but it also shifts around and changes. It was also discovered that various other members of the Volkanov family had been here, as a journal of one Valkosi Volkanov was discovered in a knapsack in a ash-covered campsite. Bigby was united with some sort of dragonborn-like silhouette and had some sort of hidden arcane power unlocked inside of him to the point where he now looks a little more green and scaly. To the point where everyone notices. It is that obvious. Hey, not my fault. Not my fault. That being said, that's something that's can be dealt with at another time. The party eventually did make its way into what seemed to be the first trial in the maze ahead, which led to everyone having some sort of weird memory time travel event where they embodied a different member of the Volkanov family in a various particular scenario. Icarus somehow possessed / embodied a member, an ancestor of Yuri's that at this point was just only referred to as Lord Volkanov. In dealing with the supposed goddess imposter, otherwise known as Don Tanjiro, Yuri became his dad and had a bullshit meta situation that was very confusing but somewhat relieving for Yuri himself. And Frost embodied a Volkanov family member by the name of Alexei Volkanov, who existed during the Era of Silence around the same time as the fall of the Atharian Empire. After events sort of took place, and everyone made some choices that may or may not have actually affected them, no one will ever know. The party then found themselves back in their own bodies and time period, uncovering discovering that they are in a sort of tapestry-filled room, and in each tapestry was a member of the Volkanov family at a certain point in time where they decided to really start embarking on their quest through the Maze of Embers, or at the very least in discovering what had happened through the Volkanov line. Yuri eventually saw his own tapestry sort of beginning to form, and the moment frozen within the tapestry itself was at a time where he was talking with a priestess of the Sisters of the Flame before making his way to the Kindred Mother at the Temple of the Sands. After which, a door opened, and they were allowed to continue their way through the Maze of Embers, and that is where we are now. So, music, play, please. Thank you. As of right now... Oh, wait, fuck, that's right. Sorry, I'm still kind of realizing that streaming and the thing is weird. It's a new... It's a semi-new thing for me. Where the fuck is my thing? Yeah, the only other thing I notice is that whenever I do, it kind of messes with my mouse, in which I don't really see it. Yeah, I know, it's very weird. So, there we go. As of right now, you are all walking. Continuing your way through the maze after your experience in the tapestry room. It's probably been about a few hours since that point. You're not entirely sure, as, well, time is weird, and there is no sun of any sort. The only real change in the sky that you can sort of notice is that the color itself is slowly turning from sort of a black and void into slowly changing into what seems to be a dark red, as of some sort of possible inferno or whatnot. But that is honestly the only change that you guys can tell from the sky at all, and even then, it's not that substantial. I want everyone to make me a perception check real quick.
Perception?
Yeah.
Hey, could you do it for me, Dan?
What was that?
Could you do it for me? I'm up right now.
Yeah, no, I got you.
That was supposed to be a 9. I know it looks like a 6, but it's a 9. Plus 3, that makes it a 9, but it would have been 12.
Yeah, nice try, Frost. Okay. Let's see. No, oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, okay, so that's 13 for Big B, 11 for Yuri, 9 for Frost, and 5 for Arakion.
Damn. That doesn't go well.
Yeah, no, you rolled in that one, buddy.
Oh, damn, that really doesn't... See, what did I say at the beginning before we started? Nat 1, didn't I?
Mayhaps you did.
Mayhaps you did. All right.
Oh my god.
So, you guys are... let's see. Bigby and Yuri. Because you're the ones that only rolled the higher than fucking 10. You're noticing, for one, that it seems like the heat is definitely kind of getting more intense. Like it was always like slowly getting hotter and hotter as you kept going through the maze. But you guys have seemed to notice that after the tapestry room itself, it kind of jumped in like it kind of jumped in temperature kind of fairly noticeably to the point where it's not necessarily unbearable yet, but it is kind of getting very, very noticeable. Frost, Arakion. You guys don't really. You guys can't really tell shit. It's just hot no matter what.
Okay.
The only thing I will say for the first two is that you also notice that there are more signs of the maze itself looking like it's starting to overlap more to the plane of fire than it is to the material plane. You notice that, one, there is still ash falling from the sky, but the stones themselves are... But at the very least, the stones of the walls themselves are kind of slowly turning to... Like, originally they were sort of like a blackish color, but now they are kind of turning a little bit more red. But... So yeah, like you're looking around, and it is kind of a little bit more obvious to you two than to your other draconic friends that you kind of have entered a part of the maze that is kind of deeper into the plane of fire. Is there anything anyone else would like to do before I do any more narration?
So have we been walking in silence this whole time for the most part, you'd say?
That's entirely up to you guys.
I think, like, as we're walking, we just walk for a little bit. Maybe some people say some things, I don't know, but eventually Frost just says, so we're gonna talk about what happened back there, or we're just gonna let it lie?
Icarus kind of shrugs behind you, just like, I don't fucking care.
As long as we're out of the hot mess, there's no reason for us to linger.
Yeah.
I'd expect you to care more, since it seems to have some pertinence to your curse.
I sort of just... I want to get to the heart of the matter before I try to...
I'd have been a shortcut to said heart. We didn't really look into that room very much. 1 second. Sorry, the cord was tangled up. I had to unwind it.
Nah, you good.
Yuri will be like, I suppose I'm just trying to, figure out how it's all connected. I don't know.
Oh, what did you...
Sorry.
What did you all see? Because that journal that we have found, I saw the last person holding it. Not the writer, but the person after, his son. What was his name again?
The person that the person in the vision that you had was Alexei Volkanov.
Yes. Question. Was Alexei's name said at all by the other dude? I don't remember.
I think it was. Honestly, I didn't
Okay.
like as I was listening. I think it was, but also during that time you also did kind of get some rush of memories in which you did remember the guy's name anyway.
Right, I forgot about that. Yay!
Hi, Wyra.
Hi. Can you hear me? Wait.
Yes, we can.
You're good. Hi. Sorry I'm late. I have no idea what's going on, but I guess I'll find out.
Not much. You haven't missed that much yet.
Oh, thank God.
I mean, you missed a lot in the last session, but.
Okay, well.
Yeah, quite a few things happened, but long story short, you're in a hot maze.
Hot maze.
Where we've been for a while.
Where you guys have kind of been for a while.
What do you mean hot maze? I know we're in a maze.
The maze was the Maze of Embers?
Yes.
It's literally like flaming on fire?
No, it's just the air is really, really hot.
Oh. Well, we already knew that.
Yeah.
We knew that the session before the one I missed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, you're still in the hot maze, and
No, it's hot because everyone's taking off their clothes.
I was gonna joke about
we don't have a bard in the party.
What's a bard?
Oh, you can shoot me now. It's the horniest class of D&D. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. We're good then.
It's a good thing we don't have a bard.
Unless
Daniel
someone else
can do it.
No, I am the DM. I am absolved from doing any sort of classes.
Have you
heard
of a DM
player,
PC?
You could do bard. You do a good bard. Direct parallel to your life.
Okay.
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 Okay, so basically what happened, because honestly I don't mind doing a second recap. Basically what happened is most recently what happened is that you guys end up in a situation where you guys kind of did some sort of time travel memory thing in which you guys took on the bodies or personages of members of the Volkanov family throughout time and got to experience some memories of which it's very confusing and whatnot, but it happened, and now you guys are back to sort of walking in the maze. And possibly discussing what happened is where we were before you popped in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Frost was just like, so are we going to talk about that, or there's a lot happening?
Hell no.
And yeah, that's what everyone else said was, hell no. And I'm like, what? Listen, I don't have a family, but that back there would have made me ask a bunch of questions if I did.
Well, it seems like you already are. I think we'll be fine for now. And if anything comes up, we'll blame Yuri.
Okay, pull the Stanley Yelnats trick. Got it. All right. Well, I mean, I suppose. What do we know about this curse exactly? Perhaps we could learn more by what we saw, and perhaps it could lead to how we can lift it. Perhaps one of us saw how it started in the first place.
I don't believe I saw how it started, but I don't necessarily think I'm the first to go and talk to Sisters of the Flame, Kindred Mother specifically. I saw my dad. He trekked the same path that basically we did, but he went in alone. That's kind of where my vision ended. Is he got his info and came to the maze.
I saw a man named Alexei, or rather I saw through his eyes, Alexei Volkanov. He was researching, doing a ton of research in that journal we found. The fact that that journal is here suggests that Alexei probably made his way here as well. And that journal, or Yuri, may be the key to figuring out what happened here. What happened with your curse.
Icarus kind of shrugs and is like, honestly, I don't know who the fuck I was, but, well, I saw some girl or something, being accused of him being like, pretending to be the goddess or some shit like that, and...
The goddess pretending? Okay, that's a start.
And like there was this sort of like giant dude that was asking me like what the verdict should be. I didn't know what the fuck to do. I just stayed silent. It wasn't my fucking business. And eventually she was about to be sent into most likely this maze herself, in order to possibly redeem herself in the eyes of this goddess chick.
So there's gods and goddesses can be very vengeful creatures. Perhaps one of these gods or goddesses laid the curse upon you in the first place.
I would have no idea as to why. I mean, as far as I can think back, my father never shared stories of any generation angering the gods or the goddesses. I would have no idea why the divine would do something like that.
Icarus just kind of shrugs and is like, gods are fucking weird.
That's one way to put it. And he kind of gives Icarus a side eye, kind of reminding him who he's talking about.
For the record, no, I am sorry, not sorry.
No, I am brilliant. For the record, this is brilliant. Anyways, Frost then says, gods can... It sounds like this is a generational curse. So perhaps it is not something that your ancestors that you've heard of have done, but those prior. What do you know of this Yuri fellow?
Yuri is...
That's me.
Or sorry, not Yuri.
Yuri is...
Who was
Alexei.
the guy... Who is the guy who wrote the book that I was...
Oh,
that Alexei was-
Valkosi.
who is this Valkosi person?
Val-
Sorry, Yuri. Who is this Yuri guy he's right in front of me? Oh no, I'm having heat stroke.
I don't know. Valkosi I never met. That goes back, I think, like a couple generations.
So perhaps Valkosi is the key.
Maybe he was on to something. Maybe the answer is somewhere in his journal. Maybe he found something. I mean...
You can read the journal, can you not?
DM, may I read the... Oh wait, it's... Frost has got it.
Yeah, no,
You
yeah,
can read
no,
this, right?
Yeah,
Go
Yuri. Frost hands you the journal and you open it up. You can understand it. It is primordial Ignan, language of the Fire Genasi. Compared to how it's spoken in this day and age, it is fairly outdated. There's some... Like, it's primarily the same language, but there's, like, a few different minor discrepancies that are kind of probably based on, like, the time period when Valkosi originally wrote it, compared to sort of, like, the modern day and age. Language evolves, So, at the very least, this is definitely an older journal, for sure. Giving it sort of a... you did give it a quick glance, if I remember correctly, when you first got it, in which you discovered that it was, like, written sometime in, like, the late 2nd to early 3rd era of of the material plane, which would make sense in how outdated, or in the fact that this is kind of an outdated version of Ignan.
Yeah. Yuri will kind of be like, most of the writing makes sense here. He's just using sort of outdated language. His handwriting is kind of rough, too. Not to speak ill of the dead, but...
Is there anything that might suggest a way out of this cursedly hot place?
Is there, Dungeon Master?
I'm going to say, roll me a intelligence check.
Oh god. You asked the barbarian for an intelligence check.
Not my fault intelligence is your dump stat again.
Starting to notice a pattern in my character. It is a 10.
Not bad.
Okay, that's not bad. So yeah, you begin to read through the journal, trying to get into various sections, and you do kind of narrow it down to more closer to early Third Era, as there is talks of movement of troops within the Atharian Empire and delegation between various noble houses. As for things within the maze itself, you do notice that at that point, the handwriting does end up becoming a little bit more rushed, cramped, and messy. And then there are also various other notes that look to be as if it is written in a secondary hand. Still in Ignan, but you can tell that this second handwriting was kind of done possibly from someone else. It's got sort of a different type of scroll compared to what Valkosi was writing.
Damn.
Like left-handed instead of right-handed or something?
Yeah, along those sort of similar lines, yeah. But I mean, everyone has their own sort of unique way of writing, and you can tell by the two different types of notes that there are two people primarily writing in this. Like the primary one is Valkosi, but there are various other index notes or just sort of things written on the offside that look as if they are made by a second hand. And I will say, Yuri, that it is in a hand that you do not recognize.
Yuri will point this out and be like, I'm not sure why a secondary person would write in it. I don't know if they wanted to manipulate how the notes in the journal seemed, or maybe it was a person doing research and taking notes on what was already written. I have no idea.
It may
yeah.
be Alexi's handwriting
that
you're talking
I was about to say, Yuri, are you kind of, as you're going through it, are you having it open for everyone to see?
Yeah, I'll hold it at an angle.
Yeah, Frost, you look at the sort of second handwriting and you do recognize it as Alexi's, as you do remember, at the beginning of your vision, Alexei was writing in the journal before he had his conversation with that one Dragonborn.
Yes, this is Alexi's handwriting right here, and I'm gonna tap on it. This is the person who I had a vision of. This is his handwriting. What does it say?
Yeah, no, you sort of begin to translate for everyone. For one, it's a little bit easier to kind of understand because the Ignan is less outdated than Valkosi's, but it looks like a lot of the notes of Alexei's start as trying to understand various passages within Valkosi's original entries, eventually leading into trying to make bizarre translations of what seems of various other lines and passages within, as it gets closer to sort of the messier scrawl, in which you do see that Alexei writes that it's possibly when Valkosi like first entered the maze in comparison to like the rest was like possibly when he was still in the material plane. And then as it kind of gets closer to the back of the diary, you see it then comes more of Alexei just kind of making entries into the journal himself.
I'll point this out and say, yeah, Alexei seems to be taking notes on what Valkosi was doing, and then when it gets to the end, it seems to be about Alexei himself entering the maze.
Perhaps there are clues he wrote down in his own entries. Perhaps there's something that can help guide us through this labyrinth that we are in.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'll just take like one last look to see if I missed anything or if there are any clues.
All right. I'm gonna say in this case, go ahead and give me a investigation check.
You got it. Oh, 15.
Okay. Are you looking primarily through Alexei's entries or Valkosi's?
Alexei's.
Alexei's? Okay. You kind of flip through the pages, getting closer to entries from Alexei, and you come across an entry that, like for some of Alexei's entries, they did have like some dates on them, and then as it continued, it kind of like gave up. But there is one in Alexei's notes that kind of fall along the ideas of not necessarily like figuring out a way out of the maze, but you do see that there are sort of the entries kind of go along the lines of beginning to understand why Valkosi left to begin with. Like Alexei realizing that his initial like frustration with trying to understand this whole situation and possibly wishing that if he saw Valkosi again to like sort of ask for like kind of apologize for the way that he treated Valkosi. You skim through it again, and the one other thing you do see is that Alexei does make mention of meeting other members of the Volkanov line, and the fact that like some of the readings like read along the lines of, when I hear the names of the members of these Volkanov, some of which I remember from my past, some of which I do not believe I have heard of before and must assume that they are of my future. Yet for me, it doesn't seem like as much time has passed for me as it has for them.
Oh, there's a time dilation in the maze.
Sounds like, yes, it sounds like time goes on outside of the maze, but not within the maze.
Yeah.
This is riveting.
Think anyone else is trapped here?
Most certainly. Those ash zombies, those ash husks didn't come from nothing. They may have once been victims of these trials. Perhaps they are what happens when you stay in this maze for too long.
Sure seems likely.
How many people do you think have been lost in here?
With the Volkanov line alone, perhaps dozens, but apparently, according to
Icarus?
according to Icarus, other people outside of the line have been thrown into the maze for other reasons. So it seems this maze is a sort of punishment for this goddess that was mentioned. What was the goddess called again?
Are you saying this in character?
Yes.
She's Rhea, the goddess of fire.
Can I make a religion check to see what I can recall of Rhea?
Yeah, shoot. Go ahead and give me a religion check.
Oops, hang on. Yay, a dirty 20.
Holy shit. Yeah, so you kind of think back to your teachings in sort of the couple of temples and chapels that you've visited and were taught at throughout your history. And Rhea does come up fairly easily. Rhea is one of the 4 primordial deities within Mithrin, being the primordial deity of fire. She didn't really get much of a following until like the beginning of the second era of Mithrin, as at that point they were sort of seen as the children of not necessarily children, but at the very least the sort of next generation of deities after the 2 prime deities.
So like the gods after the Titans in Greek mythology?
To a similar extent, yes. Rhea being the deity of fire and therefore being the queen of the elemental plane of fire was a mix of sort of a wrathful deity, but yet also a giving one, as fire could be used to either bring destruction or to kind of bring in unity to people. Fire. She's also kind of one of the more for lack of better words and kind of for pun's sake, she is a hothead. And it is kind of seen fairly commonly throughout religious historical doctrine, depending on what church you've kind of been a part of. But either way, after and you do remember hearing something of a scandal happening sometime around the second era, where a traveler was being accused of impersonating the goddess. And while there was the possibility of this traveler like having to face like the fullest extent of judgment, the members of the primordial enclave, sort of the religious organization that focuses on the prime deities, or not the primordial deities. The members of the primordial enclave that were followers of Rhea decided that instead of punishment through material means in the material plane, this traveler would have to go through one of the most extensive trials known to followers of Rhea, and have to seek forgiveness from the goddess herself instead of from her followers. When this happened, eventually she supposedly had succeeded and was allowed to possibly become the champion of Rhea, in which she refused, and the title was supposedly given to someone else. But the name of the person who it was given to after the supposed traveler is not entirely well known, especially out here in the Outlands, as a lot of historical records have been destroyed. But after that point, there had been no record of a avatar or champion of Rhea being recorded since that time period. Though that's not entirely surprising, as the era that happened right after it was the era of silence, which is a moment in history where all of the deities decide to step back from communing with mortals and kind of also decided to shut off the arcane wellspring within the material plane. So you know a good deal about Rhea, and
Apparently.
and after kind of putting a few things together, you realize, oh shit, we're kind of revolving around this fucking incident.
So, basically, what Frost is gonna, in fewer words or less, in fewer words or more, Frost is gonna say, basically, what he knows of Rhea and her history, implying that he's sure that some people among him already know about her, but he's like, I'm gonna say this, despite knowing that some of you may know this history already, but this incident concerning the Volkanov line may not have anything to do with the Volkanovs, and may perhaps be something to do with this imposter that was that Icarus saw, and I believe that imposter that Icarus saw is the one that is written in recorded history, and all records suggest that she survived her trial, and that this may have been her trial. So either she was a very extraordinary woman, or this trial is doable, and there's something we're missing.
There's the potential for both.
But it's possible, with what I remember, it's possible that it may have nothing to do with the Volkanov family. But that wouldn't really make any sense, considering how at some point in time every matriarch of your family has gone missing. So there must be some matriarch. Yuri, you're a woman now. Every patriarch of the Volkanov line goes mad and missing. Would you consider yourself mad, Yuri? We're not there yet, are we?
Yeah. No. Icarus kind of shrugs and goes, I was a Volk, like, in the weird fucking thing that I saw, I was a Volkanov when that happened, and for some reason people thought that, like, I was in charge or some shit like that.
And you didn't get your name?
No, they just simply referred to him as Lord Volkanov.
Is there any mention of Lord Volkanov in the journal?
I'm gonna say, for whoever's holding the journal, which I'm guessing is Yuri, go ahead and roll me another investigation check.
He's the only one who can read it, so...
That's fair.
And with that, I'm actually gonna stand next to Yuri, read over his shoulder, and try and learn the language, asking Yuri questions. What does this mean? What does that mean?
Okay.
I want to try and see if I can also translate.
So with that said, I will say, because of that, Yuri, I'm gonna give you advantage on this one, and then.
Oh shit! You got a 3.
Yeah, Yuri, you get advantage on this, and then Frost, I want you to just roll me a intelligence check.
All right.
Oh, it was worse. I rolled a worse roll.
Oh. Do you want to use your pity roll? Because you do have one.
I got a 16.
Can I use my pity roll?
Yes, you can use your pity roll.
Awesome.
Good.
I believe you.
Okay, 12.
Okay, that's okay.
Well-
That's your freebie for the session.
How you fumble 3 times?
No, he got a 12. I wouldn't hardly call that a fumble. So Frost, you go through, like, as Yuri is going through the journal, you do like sort of ask questions. Yuri helps with kind of the translation. You kind of write them down in your own book, possible notebook that you have on the side. And
I'm a cleric. I do have paper and pen.
yeah, no. So with that said, I will say, if you like, I will say that for one, like, you're not gonna get the language right off the get-go right now. I will say that, but if you do keep wanting to learn and you like keep doing more intelligence checks and like keep passing them, I will say at a certain point of those rolls, you will eventually become proficient. But that's further down the line.
I think, yeah, Frost is going to make a mental note and just say on his off time before, during rest and such,
Mm-hmm.
he wants to try and learn the language and study it with
Mm-hmm.
the journal and Yuri and just
Yeah.
kind of try and figure it out. Like, just learning another language in general would really
Yeah.
be really beneficial, especially in this
Okay.
place.
I know, right? Yuri, with Frost occasionally asking you questions about the language and you skimming through the journal between both Valkosi and Alexi's notes. For one, the name Volkanov shows up a lot, mainly because this is the diary belonged to a Volkanov. However, in terms of someone by the name of Lord Volkanov, there is some vague mention of him. From what you could tell is you can't really tell entirely who he was, but you do see, along with like notes of a Lord Volkanov, you do see other mentions of the Primordial Enclave and something about this Lord Volkanov either being a previous champion or being an avatar. At this point, the language kind of gets really hard in translation, as the word for avatar and champion in Ignan is kind of the same. So it's really hard to differentiate between the two. But it's, from what you can tell, it seems like this Lord Volkanov was some sort of a noble within some sort of noble with ties to the Primordial Enclave, especially with followers of Rhea.
Yeah, he'll point this out and be like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, and Frost, that to a certain extent kind of correlates with your vision a little bit, because you do remember hearing something about Alexei being some form of a minor noble during the and especially during the the beginning of the fall of the Atharian Empire, in which the vision sort of took place for you.
I'm actually in character. I'm gonna ask this: are the Volkanovs nobles still?
to my understanding,
No. But at some point, how long has it been since the Volkanov line has been noble, of noble birth?
I don't.
Um.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Yeah. Yuri, I'd say at this point you can roll a history check
You got it.
to figure that out.
A 10.
Okay. So for you, you know that, like, first, from what you can remember, like, your father and your grandfather didn't say anything about any form of nobility in you. However, that being said, during the era of silence, like, a lot of the nobility of the Atharian Empire was primarily targeted because of their ties with because of their ties with the Emperor and with the fact that, well, he wasn't really doing a good job, so everyone didn't really like nobles at that point. So, and along with the fact that you really don't have a lot of information in regards to the Volkanov line, like during the fall of the Empire, it's really hard to tell exactly when the Volkanovs like no longer became nobility, but you can assume it was sometime during the Third Era at the fall of the Empire.
Would you say that Yuri was even aware that his line was noble in the first place?
Probably not.
Yeah, you're a noble birth, bruh.
Yeah, no. Because of the fact that a lot of records are either lost, destroyed, or buried within several hundred feet of dirt and sand and destruction. Even with the possibility of 3 generations of Volkanovs trying to look for information, it would still be hard to tell. It would still be hard to find any information whatsoever about not only just the Volkanovs themselves, but any information regarding the nobility.
Yes, I'm sorry if you didn't know this, but Alexei Volkanov was a minor noble during the fall of the Empire. Which means that you are of noble birth. That is what I saw in my vision, and the vision I had was the day that the Empire fell, and all the nobles were slaughtered. Your family was one of the few who were not, because they escaped, with some help.
I come from nobility?
Icarus kind of shrugs in the back and is like, "Makes sense. The Volkanov I had was kept on being called Lord and whatnot."
Which suggests that there's a lot more than that you don't know about your family. That journal, I think, is the key, or a key, to our escape from this labyrinth.
Wow. Too bad or congrats? What's the best reaction?
He's not noble anymore, so...
Well, you come from a noble background. That's pretty cool to know historically wise.
It makes
Like
me...
saying...
Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna make a stupid joke. Keep going.
I'm sorry if I missed this. Did I get an understanding of what sort of beef Alexei had with the Emperor?
It wasn't necessarily beef with the Emperor that Alexei had. It was just, it was more towards Valkosi. From what you can tell, and I'm just gonna say this without you having to roll at this point because we've already rolled a lot of dice. From what a lot of, like, at this point when you're getting towards, like, various notes of Valkosi that are, like, edited or, like have side notes from Alexei. Alexei seemed to be one of the Volkanovs that originally wanted to try and not necessarily give up, but didn't really see an understanding as to trying to figure out a way through this, and had sort of the idea of just like to try and live a normal life as in the Empire as best as the Volkanov family could, which led to several arguments between Valkosi and Alexei in like various different categories. Alexei accused Valkosi of being mad. Valkosi accused Alexei of being short-minded. There's a variety of different arguments to be had between these two, but eventually, as you kind of saw towards the end of Alexi's notes, Alexei sort of began to understand the reasons as to why Valkosi sought through this endeavor to begin with, and kind of slowly had a more broader understanding of the situation than he had before, and kind of wished to see Valkosi once again to express his to express a desire for forgiveness from his kin.
What do you two think of this? And I'm going to point at, or what do you guys think about this? And I'm just going to gesture towards the rest of the party. What did you see in your visions?
That's a good question.
Yeah, no, I didn't really come up with ideas for Bigby or Arakion, so
We'll just say that we did get missions because we have green skin.
We are green skin. Yeah. We don't have
no,
vision.
No. At the very least, I'd say that one of you got visions of being of Valkosi and having arguments with Alexei, and then the other one, I don't know. I'll figure out something later.
Would that be like a shared vision that Bigby and I would have?
No, it was individual.
So we both had the same vision?
You both had different visions. I just don't want to choose which one had the Valkosi one.
You want to take that one?
Sure.
So yeah, no, for you, yeah, for you, Bigby, being in the mindset of Valkosi, your first thought was, "Holy shit, I'm tall." And eventually it was eventually you end up being led into a argument with a Genasi that, after realizing that you were tall, you realized that you were not a kobold, but a Genasi. And eventually had a argument with Alexei, which led to him storming off and various other things that I don't really feel like role-playing right now.
We got the DM unprepared, yes!
It's not the first time, and it won't be the last.
Never is.
Cost you red-handed.
Oh my god.
I'm hanging up now.
That's my line. No, but...
So yeah, Bigby will relay this vision to the rest of the group.
Would you say, Dan, would you say that there was anything pertinent in that vision to this other than the journal writing that we already read?
Honestly, more confirmation that more confirmation about, for one, this all being Volkanov bullshit, and two, that there is something at play here that is not really quite understood even by generations of Volkanovs. And also, Yuri's a noble.
Alright. This Lord Volkanov person seems very important. If we can find out anything about them, that might be helpful.
I think.
But
Icarus being the one that had the vision shrugged and was like, honestly, to be fair, honestly, I wasn't really paying that much attention. I didn't really fucking care that much.
You were in the body of another person, and they called you a completely different name. How did you not pay attention?
It wasn't my fucking thing to deal with, honestly.
I'm baffled. right now. How have you all
Anyway.
survived at this point without asking questions?
Anyway, Icarus then goes, the only other thing that I kind of remember is some sort of tie to the Primordial Enclave or something like that.
Yes, that confirms the Primordial Enclave has some influence here. Would you say that they were a well-known religious group?
Going off of your original Dirty 20, the Primordial Enclave is definitely fairly well known. Each sort of division of the Enclave has a temple dedicated to a deity. One for each of the 4 deities that are scattered throughout all of Mithrin. The temple for Rhea was originally built within the Atharian Empire, and was therefore the headquarters for for those who were followers of the Flame Goddess.
Just above table, maybe this flame goddess is mad that her followers let her temple get reduced to rubble. And the nobles were probably in charge of it, so she's probably just placing all the punishment on the Volkanov line. If this Lord Volkanov was in charge.
Yeah, yes, but Lord Volkanov, from what you guys could tell, was sometime at the very least during the Second Era. The fall of the Empire was during the Third Era.
But maybe the Volkanov line was still in charge of their temple.
You never know, but...
No, I don't.
Actually, no, I think this would be another Yuri one. Go ahead and make me... Yuri, go ahead and make me a intelligence check.
Alrighty.
Or not intelligence, history, sorry.
Oh.
Unless it's the same thing, anyway.
Possible there, Yuri.
It's the same thing. It's +0, so 6.
Alright, damn. Alright, for a second, you think the words Primordial Enclave sound familiar, and then it's gone.
You know that scene from the Hobbit movie? It was on the tip of my tongue. It was a thought. Oh, it wasn't a thought at all. It was a stick insect.
Yep. Yeah, pretty damn close.
It wasn't a thought at all. It was a layer of ash.
Yeah, pretty close. Pretty close.
All right. I suppose the best thing we can do is keep moving forward.
Maybe
Try
then
and find
we'll-
more clues.
And if anybody here is actually trapped.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's. Yeah, we're gonna keep going then, I guess.
Yeah.
Yuri.
Alright. Yeah, with that, you continue your way through the maze. I'm going to say up into a point where, to all of you guys, it does feel like it has been pretty much an entire day. Do you guys wish to sort of continue throughout the maze in the possibility of gaining exhaustion, or do y'all want to take some form of long rest?
With exhaustion, trust me. I've had too
I
much
vote
experience with
rest.
that. I vote rest.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rest. Alright, well, majority wins anyway. Okay, so you guys start setting up camp and taking turns for watch, I'm guessing. Who's going to be the first one to take watch?
I shall.
Raygion.
I would like to take a few hours of my rest to study the journal and try and learn the language a bit.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so before we get into sort of the Sentry Watch situations, Frost, go ahead and give me another intelligence check.
Come on, good roll. Come on, good roll. That is a nat 20. Holy fuck.
Okay.
I now know primordial after one night. No, just kidding.
No, but I am gonna say that's gonna count as 2 successes. So you have a total of 3 right now.
Oh, okay, cool. I really
so yeah.
have a grasp of this. It's not that different from
Yeah.
Draconic.
Yeah, you realize that at the very least Ignan is honestly not that hard to kind of figure out, as like there are kind of some structures of Draconic that seem sort of recognizable, but then there are some deviations, but overall it feels like we're slowly kind of getting a good grasp of sort of primordial Ignan.
How do I spell Ignan?
IG I don't remember.
Is it IGNIN?
Probably.
Alright.
You're not proficient yet, but you are getting damn close. I will say that.
I'm just adding an item that is Ignan language journal to my inventory.
That's fine. Okay, with that, Arakion, go ahead and give me a perception check.
Perception for the win. Luck point.
Alright, go ahead.
Yay! Where's my luck point?
I keep forgetting you have lucky.
Plus the D20, right? Oh shit.
I'm sorry.
Well, never mind. I rolled a 9.
I mean, this is going to be a long rest situation. You could just burn another luck point if you want.
No, you're so right.
You're going to get them back.
Right? And you're so good at persuasion, too. God damn. Ain't no way. Okay,
7 and 4 is 11. All right, you got one more.
I have one more luck point.
You got one more. You got one more luck point, and you do have pity roll.
I swear to God, if this is not
your pity roll.
Okay,
a 9 for a 13. You gonna stick with that?
Don't use your pity roll on this.
You're right. You
want to use a pity roll on something really bad.
No,
like
okay,
We're still right, Dusk. So I'm not gonna.
That being said, I did say this during session 0. I feel like, but Dusk wasn't here for that. Pity rolls are 1 per session. They're not 1 per campaign. I am not that evil of a DM.
No, but still, like that roll could mean the difference between life or death.
Yeah.
In a session.
Okay, so Arakion, are you gonna stick with a 13, or are you going pity roll?
I'm sticking with the 13. I don't know how I get lucky 4 times in a row. How is this even possible?
I just realized you're not the only one with the lucky feat too, because Crystalina now has it. Yikes.
Yeah, but the thing is, she can't use it right now. So I mean.
Yeah, no. Okay, so Arakion.
So why exactly can't I use it right now?
Because you're sleeping.
Oh. I'm confused then. Never mind, continue.
It was his perception roll.
Yeah,
you can't do your perception
that's fine.
For him.
Okay.
So I guess my character's sleeping?
We're doing a long... Yeah, we're doing long
sleeping.
rest, watch situation. Anyway.
Okay.
13. 13. Arakion, you are keeping a watch sort of around the you're keeping a watch, and you are kind of slightly distracted for one. Not only with just sort of everything that's kind of been happening with Yuri's situation and whatnot, but there's probably several other things that are kind of going on throughout your mind of just sort of the days/2 days worth of events. One of which is, I said, just all the information about Yuri and his family, the fact that he is nobility of some sort, and some sort of ties with religion, very confusing.
It's all fucky wucky.
It's all fucky wucky, but I feel like that part of your attention kind of also diverts back to Bigby, who is, for one, sleeping near you, for one, as you don't let him out of your sight anymore. But the one thing that you are partly curious about, for one, is the fact of Bigby's sort of new draconic-like scales. One thing I will say about last week is that Bigby did kind of like, when everyone woke up from their sleep, I did kind of RP Bigby, kind of explaining why he has draconic scales on him now, in sort of the vision and whatnot, and your mind kind of thinks back to kind of like what Bigby was saying, of like some sort of silhouette of a dragonborn, a forest. The like fact of Bigby having like some sort of hidden arcane power, possibly with ties to dragon, from what it looks like. And like, what do you think Arakion's thought process of that whole situation would probably be?
Honestly, I would. His mind is more like, skipping about. It leads to this, and then it goes on to like, oh God, what can happen, and on to, oh, what does this mean? Does this mean that he's super powerful? You know what I mean? Like, he's just sort of going back and forth and things like that.
Okay, so I'm gonna say, ooh, how do I want to do this? I'm going to say roll me an insight check on sort of this whole thing. Oh wait, do you want me to do that for you? Or
No,
do
I
you got
got
it?
it. I forgot to tell you all that I'm back at my computer. I've been back at my computer for like 30 minutes now.
Yeah.
Alright.
God damn it! Why is this happening to me?
Just
Okay,
one of those days.
No.
So with kind of looking at Bigby and your mind going back and forth, what is this going to mean? What does this mean? Does this mean he's super powerful? Does this mean he's just related to dragons of some sort? Your mind goes back and forth on a variety of different possible topics. And one thing kind of pops into your mind, and when it does, your first thought is just automatically, oh shit. So your mind goes back to when you were doing the contract with the Sisters of the Flame to be the escort for Ryukai, who at that time was accused of being one of the claws of Tiamat.
I know where this is going.
Like, as soon as, like, and your immediate thought is, oh shit.
He puts two and two together. He's like, oh no.
Yeah, you just kind of look at that and it's like, oh shit, is my little buddy descended from Tiamat?
Whoop.
Like, what do you think Arakion's, like, reaction is as, like, when he puts that possibility in his head?
He just, like, just... He's just like, man. I can't really, like, put it into words. but he's just taken aback. He's still like doubting, just in case maybe this is, just a way kobolds transition into their old people phase. Maybe Big B is getting old, and maybe he's not.
Yeah, like you. Yeah, you
Like
just try.
overnight.
Like as soon as that thought goes in your head, you're just immediately trying to find ways to dismiss it. It's like, no. I mean, dragons maybe. Tiamat, no. He's
That's a
just maybe.
stretch.
That's a stretch. He's just probably getting old or something.
He probably just needs his cream of wheat. Who knows?
All right, and so you basically spend the rest of your watch trying to convince yourself of not thinking of the hypothetical possibility that your little buddy might be in deeper shit.
Yeah.
And then with that, who's gonna take watch after Arakion?
Wait, before I do leave, he does have one extra thought.
Shoot.
How exactly, like, if it does turn out to be true, how will he deal with this? Like how, like, that would mean that Bigby would be in more danger than he ever will be, because that would make him a target.
I'm gonna say you can roll either an insight check or just a straight intelligence check.
Well, intelligence. God, wrong thing. At least I'm
Okay.
smart. Okay, God.
Yeah, no, you are smart. So you're kind of thinking this more strategically at this point. If Bigby is hypothetically one of the claws of Tiamat, which is very unlikely, you're still trying to convince yourself that is unlikely to impossible. If it got out that Bigby was hypothetically one of the claws of Tiamat, in this case, judging by the green scales on the sort of new green scales on his body, if he is in fact the green claw of Tiamat, if word got out, then he would, at the very least, he would be hunted by the Wyvern Axe. Not necessarily hunted and killed, because they got hard-ons for Tiamat anyway, so...
Oh, wow.
Anything, like, not literally. They're just, like, very, very religious zealots involving Tiamat. But they would try and find Bigby and take him back, and take him with them, because of the fact that they are very Tiamat heavy, in which I don't like that idea because, well, you don't really like the Wyvern Axe anyway, so
Bastards.
you want to kind of stay clear of that possibility. As far as it reaching anyone else within the Outlands, I mean, worst case scenario, best case scenario, it might just give you guys a better reputation, and people would just choose not to fuck with you. Worst case scenario, any clan that wants nothing to do with Tiamat would try and hunt down Bigby to ensure that the prophecy of the five claws of Tiamat would not be fulfilled.
Oh, God. That would be Bigby versus the Outlands.
Yeah, middle case scenario, Bigby gets taken by the Wyvern Axe and is most likely going to stay alive.
Oh.
That's like the best. Yeah, that's like the best worst case scenario, and even then, Bigby would still be used to unlock the seal in which Tiamat's prison is being held at, which
You guys know I like releasing dragons.
Which, okay, so the idea of the Wyvern Axe leaving Bigby alive is great, but also being used to release a primordial dragon queen that originally didn't like mortals. That's not entirely fun.
It doesn't bode well.
It doesn't bode well.
I mean, well, whatever comes with this, we gotta be ready for that. But as he's walking over to wake up the next person to, get them ready for their shift, he's probably gonna, he's debating on whether he should, tell Big B or talk to him about it or,
All right. With that, who is actually going to take next shift?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yuri. You get yourself up, kind of shake off the sort of light bit of ash that's been kind of coating on you as ash still kind of falls in this fucking place. You kind of set yourself around the camp. Rakion, you go down to lay in bed. Yuri, I want you to give me a perception check.
You got it.
honk shoe, honk shoe, honk shoe.
23.
Oh. So yeah, Yuri,
Nice.
So yeah, Yuri, you are definitely keeping a good eye on everything. You hear sort of the grinding of the maze itself as various pathways begin to change or adjust. Some of which sound like they're somewhat close, some sound like they're off in the distance. You hear the sort of shufflings and groanings of ash husks as they sort of traverse the way across the maze itself. They don't seem to be making their way anywhere close to you yet. Like, you do see them kind of walking by, but they don't seem to be going anywhere near you. They seem to be at the very least still keeping their distance somewhat. And as you're kind of staying watch and keeping an eye on everything, what is kind of going through Yuri's mind right now?
I think Yuri's fully overwhelmed. He is being presented with information that he comes from nobility, that nobility at some point sort of no longer mattered. Family drama for generations. I think Yuri's feeling somewhat overwhelmed and also angry at the idea of, I think, prophecy as a whole. I think it's a mixture of guilt too, because in a way he feels like he's fed into this prophecy by coming to the maze, just like all the patriarchs did for generations. Of course, he wanted answers, but he feels like he doesn't know if this is the right decision, because if he fucks up, it's not just his life, but then it's the life of his friends, and then his son has to deal with the shit too. And he also feels anger because this idea of destiny is like, he doesn't know if there's a point, because he feels like the divine has already decided. So in some ways he feels sort of down on himself.
So, yeah, no, for sure you have feelings of being overwhelmed with all this information, of nobility, of ties to the primordial enclave, whatever the fuck that is, of destiny, of the fact that this curse, whatever this is, runs deeper into your family than you initially thought. Even your own history runs even deeper than you initially thought, and deep down you just are unsure of kind of how to kind of feel about all of this. And as you are kind of sitting there, your feelings of uncertainty, of anger, of confusion kind of stir inside of you. You hear the sounds of footsteps, in which you immediately turn around, stooped out of your thoughts, and you see what looks to be a young woman making her way over towards you. Her skin of a sort of a bronzish brown, hair in a sort of red blaze, mix, and with like wisps of fire occasionally coming out as her hair just kind of lightly bobs as she walks. Eyes sort of ablaze in rings of look like almost burning coals. While this is you sort of don't really recognize her at first, somehow deep down you know that this is the goddess herself, as she kind of makes her way over and is like, "So, you made it after all."
I think Yuri just like looks at her. He has a million like questions in his head. He has a million things he wants to say, but he like is just too overwhelmed to say anything. I think he just stares at her, his mouth agape.
She smiles, makes her way even closer, and kind of kneels down at the campfire that sits at the center of your campsite. She reaches her hand out, and the blaze itself the fire itself glows as not necessarily brighter, but stronger. And she looks to you and goes, "Come now, this isn't the first time we've ever had a conversation."
I'm sorry. This is real. I'm not dreaming. Are you actually, what is going on?
This is my domain, Yuri Volkanov. I am able to traverse it how I please. Though, to be fair, I am not entirely here, but then again, what god ever is?
I don't, why are you here?
She kind of gives a almost sullen type of sigh, and you see she looks to the flames again, pulls her kind of hand out from what she was tending to. The flames go from their sort of strong presence to back to what it originally was, and she goes, "I'm gonna be honest with you, Yuri, and that's not saying that I haven't been honest with you with our previous conversations, but
A goddess being honest, that's a first.
there are some." Do you really believe that I enjoy seeing what I basically consider my children making their way into this maze only to be endlessly imprisoned until someone eventually succeeds?
You don't think forgive my, in fear of coming on too strong, Rhea, I don't care. I don't honestly care that you don't like it. You could have stopped it. You literally are a goddess.
True, but there are laws within the weave of the universe that are even stronger than my own. Ones that were here since the beginning
You had a
of
microwave
creation.
the whole time? Whoa! She's not muted, sorry.
No, you're good, Wyra. There are things. The laws of the universe cannot just be controlled by any deity. Those of us who come before the Prime also have to follow their own laws, and with all due respect, I feel like I believe that you should care about all of this. Not just because it's me. I'm not that self-absorbed. I'm not like any of my other brothers or sisters. But because of the fact that this ties into you a lot further than you initially thought.
I realize that. I've realized that since the day my father left. I realized that since the day we stepped into this maze, and I realized that as I'm talking to you. That doesn't take away from the fact that none of us, literally none of us, had a father because of you. So forgive me if I don't exactly feel kindness towards you. Of course, I want to know what took my father away and what took his father away. But to think that I would show you an ounce of respect, to think that I would want to have some sort of relationship with you is just facetious.
As you finish saying that, you begin to feel the surrounding area kind of heat up a lot more. What originally felt as an aura of comfort in her presence becomes one definitely a lot more angered as the flames in her hair kind of begin to erupt more. And she's like, "You think I fucking like watching your family members go into this maze and become endlessly stuck here? I didn't choose this, okay?
Oh, great.
I'm as much of a fucking prisoner to these goddamn rules as you are."
You didn't try. You didn't try. All of us, my family, we didn't have fathers. You didn't even try. You haven't been where I've been. You haven't. You. Ugh. You're
Just because you see at this point she gets directly in your face and you can almost feel your skin begin to burn. Your resistance meaning nothing in her presence as she goes, "Just because they are not in your fucking life doesn't mean I am not trying to help them. For the record, your father is still alive, by the way. Thank you for not asking, dumbass."
Don't push your luck, bro. Don't push your luck. We're all gonna die. She'll set the whole hallway on fire. I am very flammable, thank you. I'm gonna mute myself again.
Yuri will be like, "That's great. That's fantastic that you've suffered, and you think that because you've suffered, and I've suffered, that we are the same, and that you and I are both prisoners to some sort of system. I'm happy my father is still alive, but don't fucking expect me to say thank you, ever. You're not, I'm not giving you an ounce of sympathy, is what I'm saying. You don't deserve sympathy, and I'm not going to give it to you, so don't ask for it.
She looks as if she is trying to get even. She wants to get even angrier. But you see the flames eventually die down. Your face slightly blistered, but not burnt. She kind of gives a smile and is like, as raging and ever-changing as fire itself. Your family continues to surprise me, Yuri. I want to help your family. I want to help you. Hells, as at this point, you are the closest thing to a hope that everyone in this maze has to peace. Including that one bitch, but honestly, that's a whole other problem. You are a child of the flames. I have known your family for eons, for generations. Do you ever realize that your family name in itself actually has ties to things? And she stops and is like, oh, you know what? I'm not like my fucking siblings. Okay, point is, your family is very important, not only to me, but to aspects of the material plane. Like, you probably just found out. I know you went through your first trial and succeeded.
Great. Great.
Look, like I said, I want to help you. I want to ensure that you get through all this just so that everyone in here can finally see peace. And honestly, okay, to be fair, weirdly enough, some have in here through bizarre ways, and I take pity on your family for what has happened. I really do, and I know you don't fucking care right now, and that is your right. But I will say that for those who have come in here, most of which are still technically alive, there's, I don't know, freaking, one of my other brethren helped me originally build this thing, and there's a lot of other rules that take place within this maze other than involving that of fire. I'm not going to make the trials for you any easier. Because, like everyone else who has gone through them, and every other member of your family that had originally succeeded and become a champion, You need to learn that the fire inside of you is one of the strongest sources of power your kind has. And don't get me wrong, I know some people are going to say, oh, power of friendship, which that does sometimes help. I mean, you brought your friends here. But to get through these trials, you are going to have to rely in the flames inside your own heart more than you're going to have to rely on your own friends. And all I'm going to ask is this one thing, and then I'll fucking leave if you want me to. Do you think that your flame is strong enough to protect not only yourself, but to protect your friends from what lies ahead?
Yuri hesitates for a moment and says, I don't know. Not with 100% certainty. I know that my flames are strong, and I know that my friends are strong too. I don't know that I'll be able to protect everyone and prevent everyone from getting harmed ever. But I know that I'll try.
He nods and goes, fire isn't just meant to be used as a weapon, Yuri. It is a symbol of family and of unity. There is peace within chaos. Remember that.
I think Yuri hesitates and says, Rhea, before you go, you should remember something about me, too.
What?
I know I sound like a broken record, and I'm not the first or last mortal you've ever talked to, so I know you won't care. But if it gives you pause for thought ever in your existence, ponder this. My family never owes you the words thank you. Not me, not my son, not my dad, not my granddad, not my grandchildren. None of us owe you sympathy or gratitude. What I hope you realize, Rhea, is that if and when I'm able to succeed in all of these trials, and we survive this maze, none of us ever have to say thank you. History will never see you as anything but the aggressor.
You see her flames slightly brighten in anger and then quickly die down. She goes, "That's what you think, then fine." She gets up, dusts her dress off of the ash, which for some reason comes off a lot faster for her than it does for any one of your other party. She begins to walk away.
What is that?
And she stops partway, looks to you, and goes, "Despite what you may think, I wish you the best of luck." And she begins, without waiting for a response, walks away, and you watch as her body begins to fade away into ash.
Yuri ponders and just looks at the campfire. I think despite being prideful and arrogant and trying to teach a goddess a lesson, I think Yuri is considering what she said and thinking about using fire as a protection instead of as a weapon. And he's just sort of sitting there just looking at the campfire.
Okay. Let's go for one more. Who's going to stand for last watch?
Me.
Oh, good.
Nope. Okay, Frost. Yuri wakes you up from your slumber. Looks like he got a little heat blistered, but you decide not to ask him about it quite yet.
What is my condition?
Weirdly enough, you and the rest of the party are fine. You guys didn't notice jack shit. But then again, gods are at play, so who the fuck cares?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know about it, and if Yuri's not saying anything, I'm not gonna ask. Actually, what I will say is, I'll get up and like, see anything?
Nope. Completely uneventful. Got a little hot.
I can see that. Well, have a good rest.
Thank you.
And I'm going to just pat him on the shoulder. Hopefully not in a spot where he's blistered. And then,
yeah. So,
make an attack.
Frost, you stand up and finish out the watch for the rest of the quote-unquote night. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
I was almost going to roll my normal one. All right. Do. All right, that's 17.
Not bad. Yeah, no, so you watch for the remainder of the night as well. You hear sort of the ending moments of the maze shifting around and whatnot. Ash husks still seem to be walking around for a bit, but at this point you're used to them and whatnot. And just for the sake of the roll, you do a little bit more of your learning primordial because you were like, everything's fine. I can read a little bit more. And as you're kind of standing for watch at this point, what do you think is going through Frost's mind at this point?
Frost would be contemplating he's trying to consolidate all the information that he's learned from his vision, from the journal, from the others' visions, and his time in the military, in the military force he was with, which I still haven't determined. His time in that military force taught him that knowledge is power, and if you have good intel, you can defeat any enemy and get through any obstacle. And so he's trying to consolidate all that information, trying to figure out clues as to what they might do, because wandering around this maze is just going to get them lost further. So he's just trying to see if there's anything else. Like, he's leafing through the journal with his limited knowledge, trying to figure out any clues. He's trying to remember the landmarks in the maze, anything.
Yeah.
Trying to come up with ideas and plans.
Yeah, so you're going through in part going through the journal, like you try and decipher it on your own, and like you sort of recognize a lot of the words that Yuri pointed out to you when you were like initially asking and whatnot. But even then, with how quick you are like slowly understanding primordial, it is kind of hard to figure out and decipher like other excerpts from the journal that you haven't truly read or really understood yet. And going through the rest of what you kind of learned in this particular instance, the Volkanovs being nobles, ties, how they have ties to the Primordial Enclave, the whole fact that this is a part of what seems to be one of the biggest religious dilemmas in on this side of on this side of the material plane, pretty much ever since the still hypothetical question of if Kaldres is the son of the goddess of darkness Bryneth, or if he is the son of Tiamat, which is still a conversation held to this day. Kaldres being the god of war and also known as the first Dragonborn. Because I can see you're kind of confused.
No, I was.
Yeah.
That's my interested face.
No, Frost would definitely know of that whole conversation and whatnot. But along with the sort of the first Dragonborn debate and this whole thing with Rhea, this is definitely one of the largest religious dilemmas, especially within the Primordial Enclave, which, as far as you know, still technically exists, even with the those who are devoted to Rhea not necessarily being in as much strength as they used to, or compared to some of the other temples. But as a cleric, as a holy person yourself, with this amount of knowledge that you've gathered, you can't help but also have a little bit of, for lack of better words, confidence. While Rhea is not necessarily your deity, the fact that this is still, in some weird way, a religious matter, as well as a family matter for Yuri, you are definitely curious to know exactly how, like, what this all entails historically and in terms of how the Volkanovs essentially got tied to the Primordial Enclave and why they seem to be targeted with this possible curse of some sort, or whatever this situation of the Mace of Ember seems to have created. And you, as a military man, you are for sure wanting to definitely get more information before kind of making a analysis of your enemies. But the holy person inside of you, while still also wanting some form of additional knowledge, doesn't necessarily see all this as a good versus bad situation. I mean, yes, the gods are fickle, and they can be, at best, chaotic, but even the most chaotic gods aren't necessarily 100% evil. They may not necessarily fall into the scales of lawful as some of the other gods, but you, to some manner or another, believe that whatever is happening here has some justified meaning. Whether or not it's entirely justified in the eyes of followers, or or justified in the eyes of mortal society, the mortal pious society, or justified in the eyes of the rest of the gods, that is probably the more thing up to debate. But you are not entirely sure which way the die is going to be cast, but at the very least, you are going in this with the analysis of the idea of the fact that the gods aren't necessarily doing this for evil purposes, and there must be a actual reason behind everything. And then there's the military man inside of you that is being like, this is wrong, this is bullshit, enemy.
Go.
So it does leave you in a sort of conflict of interests.
Yeah, I can't seem to think of any. We just don't have enough information. The best thing that I can think of we can do is to search the maze for more clues, because if there was one door or one structure, one room in this maze, there has to be more. That can't be all of them, especially if this maze isn't exclusive to the Volkanovs. If there have been others who have been subjugated to these trials, then perhaps there are other rooms like that may give insight into how to escape. Perhaps that woman who escaped all those eons ago, perhaps she has a room like it that may give us clues as to how to get out of here, how to finish the trial. Something about that.
Yeah, so... Yeah, no, you basically continue the rest of your shift kind of going through the information in your mind and, like you said, realizing that to kind of truly understand things a lot more, you need more information, and the only way to get more information is to continue into the maze. Or you can pray to a god, but...
The god Helm is not one that you pray to in times like this. When you pray to Helm, I am the one who answers, in a way, because Helm is I'm misunderstanding. Helm's a very... Not the word... Low-key's not the word I'm looking for. Hang on, I was just looking at it. He's kind of cold in a way. He doesn't really deign to deal with the ways of mortals as much. We just kind of pray to him that we'll survive this fight, or this place will be safe, or whatever. And so, like, as a cleric of Helm, when I pray to him, it is to ensure that my patient as a combat medic survives. Like, as I'm doing CPR or something, I'm doing CPR to the rhythm of a prayer or something.
Yeah. So, yeah, to you, the idea of trying to pray to Helm for information isn't necessarily the most viable in this situation. So that only leaves going back to plan A for waiting and getting more information, which now...
After a moment, though, Frost thinks Helm's not the only god that I can pray to. And he wouldn't be... It's not like he would be mad if I asked another god for help in this regard. Especially since he knows that I know that he doesn't care about this moment. This isn't his domain. This isn't his thing. So perhaps I'll roll a religion check to think about a god that I could pray to recall any gods of, like, knowledge or something that I might get answer to.
Okay, yeah. Give me a religion check.
That is an 11.
11. Okay, so the fact that you're a cleric kind of definitely lowers the DC a little bit. So you go through your mind for gods of knowledge, and the only one that immediately comes to your mind, especially within the pantheon of Mithrin, is the god Azir, who I will EZYR, I think. Hold on, let me actually double check my spelling. I gotta double check the spelling of a god in my own fucking pantheon. Deities of Mithrin. Yeah, EZYR. Azir, who is sometimes also known as the Ark Giver. Azir is classified as a arisen deity, to be, which is kind of the next generation of gods and goddesses after the primordial deities. So, in the eyes of the mortals of Mithrin, definitely kind of a bit newer in terms of worship, but Azir is seen as the deity of knowledge, but also the deity of magic.
With that 11, can I recall any prayers that might beseech the Azir to shed some light on this situation?
It's a little difficult because a lot of worshippers of Azir are either arcane practitioners or some form of higher scholar than kind of what you are at this point. And because of the fact, you have a general idea of deities within the pantheon, but most and a good sense of religious lore behind each of the gods in the pantheon. But as for exact specifications of most deities, you're kind of given a bit of a blank, especially with that 11, honestly.
All right. Then yeah, plan A it is. I'll just send a quick prayer to Helm, beseeching the god of guardians to help me keep these people safe, and continue my watch.
All right. Yeah. You offer a quick prayer for protection and you still kind of keep knowledge of possibly Azir in the back of your mind, but you don't really reach out offer any form of a prayer because, well, not really your forte. You're just Helm is good. Helm is fine for right now, in your opinion, for what lies ahead, and you continue the rest of your night undisturbed. And honestly, that's probably where we're going to leave tonight's episode for right now. So, thank you all for that very emotionally deep episode. And thank you everyone else for watching. We will continue this next week. Hopefully we have our Australian. If you want to see any of our other campaigns we have done in the past or hypothetical future, I don't know. YouTube, I'm speaking for the future when this is a thing of the past. Time travel. We'll go over to our YouTube. We have a plethora of campaigns and one-shots that you can listen to while you wait for us to get on with the next episode. And we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Adios.
Bye.